Monday morning, off and moving here. Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Shout out to our crew over at Go Chevrolet, GEAUX Chevrolet.com. We've got a ton to get to over the next 2 hours, and we're going to start with one of the top safeties in the country. Michael Doherty, who is out of Logan'sville, Georgia, was in this weekend for LSU's Junior Day. We've got Will Wade, LSU head basketball coach, coming up at 7:30. We've got Sonny Ship at 8 a.m. recapping Junior Day and LSU's recruiting class and what it's looking for next year. LSU picks up a transfer in the quarterback with Arizona State's quarterback Jayden Daniels announcing he's coming to LSU. We will also talk to Nathan Velasquez, who will be in studio with us here at 8:30 this morning. But let's go out to Georgia, as our guy Michael Doherty is with us. He is in class. He is about to change classes, so we got to get right to him. Mike, good morning. How are you, buddy? We're doing good, man. Are we hooked up to the, yeah? Hey, Mike, you got me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Thanks for squeezing us in on this Monday morning. Recap the weekend at LSU. Everybody curious how Brian Kelly's first big recruiting weekend went for next year's class. You were obviously a huge target for them at safety. How was the weekend from your point of view?
First of all, good morning. And I would say the weekend had an infectious atmosphere. You know, it was coming off Mardi Gras weekend. Everybody's in good spirits. You know, getting down there to come back to LSU is my second time visiting. So with the new staff, and you know, it was one of those visits that stand out. I would say Coach Kelly has a great staff around him with everybody he brought from Notre Dame and everybody that's still there from LSU. I feel like he knows what he's doing. Everybody knows that he's a well-rounded coach and has a great resume when it comes to stuff like that. So I feel like that weekend just went great. Couldn't be any more like scripted in terms of the success it had.
You got an offer from, it seems like, everybody in the country. It seems like anybody who is good in college football, you got an offer from. Where does LSU fit in after the weekend?
You know, after the weekend, I feel like LSU towards the top. If anything, they'd be in the top three. If anything, I had like that. I feel like the way that they carried themselves and they presented everything they wanted me to see, and being able to talk to Kelly himself and Coach Cooks, the safeties coach, it put them in high standards in terms of my commitment.
Did you ever think about committing?
Actually, my commitment date is set for April 13th.
Let's go.
That is the day my grandfather unfortunately passed.
Oh, sorry about that, man. Tell me a little bit about your game, bro. I mean, how has recruiting been for you? I think that this class, this junior class where you are going into your senior season, you guys have really kind of been able to experience back to recruiting and what it's been like. What's this experience been like for you?
So I would describe my game as the most versatile on the field. I've been able to play the corner, the nickel, and the free safety, even some of that sub linebacker in certain packages. So I feel like that just adds more value to me to be able to get on the field early and to increase the value in a team secondary. But in terms of my recruiting, I think I've been taking it one step at a time. I've been putting myself in the best position regardless of, you know, the age I'm at or like what class I'm in. So I feel like recruiting hasn't been as stressful for some as it has been for others, but it's been just a blessing in disguise.
What about Coach Kelly's staff? Coach Steeples, Coach House, those guys on the defensive side of the ball, how did they make an impact on you this weekend?
You know, I got to sit down one-on-one with Coach Kelly with another safety, John Aguayo. He was from IMG back at Massachusetts, his school hometown. You know, being able to sit down with Coach Cooks and being able to, like, just pick his brain and talk basic coverage shows that they're well-oriented and very detailed in terms of their game plans.
How was the crawfish?
The crawfish was amazing. We had big plates everywhere. Everybody had a boil. We got to sit down, just have good food and share fellowship.
Do you know where you're going right now? I know you're announcing on April 13th, but do you know right now where you're going?
I would say it's still up in the air. There's a handful of schools that will be on the table that could easily be the hat I choose. But in terms of where my mind is set right now, it's still up in the air.
You play more than just football, right? You a basketball player too?
No, I did track for a year, something like that. Still do the workouts and everything, but football, it definitely has my heart.
Would you be an early enrollee? Would you be a spring enrollee?
Yes, sir. I would graduate high school in December.
Nice. Mike, it's great to meet you, man. I know that this is over the phone, but it's cool to catch up with you. You have a very bright future. Hopefully it features you in Baton Rouge. I think a lot of people would love to see you in purple and gold. But best of luck in recruiting, man, and hopefully we can catch up after you make that choice on April 13th.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You got it, man. There is Michael Doherty. He is on Twitter. You can find him at Mikey G Macco on Twitter if you want to find him there on social media. But starting his Monday with us here after a very busy weekend. We appreciate him for starting off here on this Monday. Lloyd's here as he's flying in. Lloyd, good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, glad to be back.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you,
to
sir.
Lizzie, 30?
Dirty 30, brother.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah.
Welcome to it.
Times are changing, obviously,
Welcome to
as
it.
you can see.
I had a kid at 30, buddy.
Oh.
30 years old is when I had little Jay.
Obviously on purpose. Life was going just according to plan.
That's right. That's right. Don't be a fool. Protect your tool. It's good to see Stewie and the boys last night. Over 1,000 hits.
Dude, I was one of them. I
on
checked
Cloud
in.
Chase. Me too. I was one of them. I actually commented and liked the boys looking good on a Sunday night.
They did.
Noah had the Burrow glasses on. Jack was all curled up on the seat.
Somebody said, Noah, that was a bold move by Noah.
Yeah, he learns from the
Central's finest.
That's right. He learns from the best. Joey
Dirty
B.
seat.
That's right, man. All right, that was pretty impressive to start off the Monday. Michael Doherty, one of the top safeties in the country. In fact, he's one of the top recruits out of Georgia. He's from Logan'sville, Georgia. Look him up. Everybody who's anybody in college football has offered this guy. He was in town this past weekend for LSU's Junior Day. A pretty active weekend for LSU football. We'll get all to it. I think the story that's dominating, obviously, is Jayden Daniels, the quarterback from Arizona State, announcing on Sunday that he's transferring in to Baton Rouge. Not only is he going to be eligible for next fall, he's here now. He's here ready for spring. He's going to go through summer workouts. He's going to be a part of the quarterback room. Now, how does it affect the room? We'll talk to Sonny Ship coming up here at 8 o'clock this morning. Will Wade and the Tigers got a big win over the weekend against Nate Oates in Alabama. First time the Tigers had won versus the Tide in 6 games, so they needed to get that off their back, if nothing else. But that was a nice overtime win on Senior Day. How about Darius Days and his performance? Very balanced game for Days on Sunday. Wade called it one of his tops just off the top of his head as he was sitting there remembering some of Days' finest moments in his 4 years at LSU. And I thought Wade pointed something out that we may not we may have taken for granted. I don't know how many 4-year seniors you'll see in college basketball that stay in one place anymore. Darius Days has done that. He's had a tremendous career. He sacrificed a ton in his game for the first 3 years, and he's really been a leader here in his senior season for LSU. And to see him close it out at home on Senior Day the way that it went down, I felt really good for Darius Days. That was a cool moment for Days. We'll talk to Will Wade about that and getting ready for what's going to be a very competitive SEC basketball tournament. Tigers got the 5 seed as they head over to Tampa Bay for opening round action to LSU basketball and where they are right now. They'll face the winner of Ole Miss and Missouri, and if LSU wins that, they'll play Arkansas in the next round. So we'll ask Coach Wade what the week of preparation, what the travel is like this week. How much does he put into this tournament? Remember, this is a tournament that they made a run at last season, got into the championship, and was a putback away from winning the title. So we'll see where Coach Wade and his preparation is with his group. It feels like they're kind of rounding back into form here at the right time. Is it too late? I don't know, but it does feel like they're starting to play really good basketball again. They went through spurts and stretches on Saturday that they looked really good.
They did.
So hopefully they can put some of this together for 40 minutes at this part of the season.
I was going to say thank you for the tickets. Got to go see the boys.
Absolutely.
It was excellent to go see on senior night. And I'm
Seemed like
wondering,
a great environment.
It was a great environment. It was funny. Mikey was texting me during the game. I was there. He was doing, I think, some family thing. Always the family with Mikey. Always. Yeah. But he was like, how's the environment there? I was like,
Lebanese and Italians.
Oh, my, got to get together. But he was texting me, and I was like, how's the environment? It's got to be rocking. And I was like, actually, you could hear like a pin drop at times. Everybody was so nervous. There was a lot of nervous energy, not only on the court, but in the stands. There was times it got rocking, but it was like a lot of people were anxious more than anything. And I was wondering if Will Wade, do you think he drew up the final play at the fourth quarter for Darius Days?
I thought he did.
Senior night?
Yeah, I thought he did.
So
Well, I mean,
too.
I think not only because of the nostalgia of the moment. I thought the
rolling.
days was rolling.
Yeah, I mean, he was
the ball in his hand.
He was probably riding a hot hand at
Absolutely.
that point.
I mean, it was
in and out too. It could have been a perfect cap for senior night, but once it got to overtime, it felt like LSU was going to win regardless.
Yeah, good for Tari Eason to redeem himself. A web redemption for Eason. That looked like that could have been bad with that foul at the end of the game. I mean, the TV cameras caught Wade staring into Tari Eason's face saying, "What the F are you doing?"
We've talked about this.
I mean, what are you doing? And then he gets the swat and the run out in the overtime to kind of secure it for LSU. But
there's probably not a bigger fan favorite than Tari Eason. He was going through the crowd after the game, and he stopped at one kid had the night of his life. He stopped with one guy and just grabbed him and started shaking some poor white kid. And he was like, oh, they were just screaming both of each other's faces. He's like, that was the best moment of my life. But he just picked one kid for no reason at all. It was awesome.
Gonna tell his kids that story.
No doubt.
For sure.
so LSU wins on Saturday 80-77. Days had 24. Murray had 17. LSU and Alabama both tied for 5th place in the SEC. Days 24 were his most since his 3rd game of the season. He was 8 of 15 for shooting, including 3 of 7 on 3-pointers. He also had 7 rebounds and 3 steals on the day. So we'll talk to Coach Wade about Days' performance, about where his confidence is on his team heading into the week. And this SEC basketball tournament is so intriguing, man. This is going to be a great tournament down in Tampa after a really good regular season. And as we said, it feels like kind of LSU's starting to find their feet again, and hopefully can kind of get their legs underneath them between the SEC tournament and going into March. I saw Joe Lenardi. The latest on bracketology had LSU a 6th seed out west in San Diego, which, I mean, boys, we might have to load up.
Little
trip to San Diego in the springtime.
Again.
Are you kidding me?
Get the Jeep.
I was in Destin this weekend, and the weather was incredible.
That's right.
Good Lord. I mean, the weather looked like the Bahamas. I mean, the water looked like the Bahamas. It was 70. I mean, we got there Friday night, pulled into town at like probably 10 o'clock. That's Thursday night, probably pulled into town at like 10 o'clock. And we went out to the beach, took a sheet, just like laid down. Next thing I woke up, it was like 2 in the morning. We had to
you
get
fell
back.
asleep out there?
I mean, it was just so peaceful.
Oh, I bet.
You know what I mean? Just
there was one light out there.
That's right.
We're crabbing.
But a beautiful weekend in the on the Gulf Coast. You forget about the Gulf Coast. I mean, you look up and everybody in this part of the country goes like snow skiing.
Right.
But then you go to the beach, bro.
Perfect weather.
The weather's right. There's not a lot of people down there.
We had Mikey hold it down for you.
It looked great.
Show. Good show. Friday Foodie came in and
Mikey,
peppered him with some questions. It was a good time. It was his first Foodie Friday.
Yeah, and that looked great. Foodie Friday started starting to round into form.
And they're finding their form. A little cornbred waffle out of nowhere.
They are.
So they
out of left field.
Out of left field.
That healthy cornbread waffle.
Obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back at Fred's this Friday. Mic'd up, absolutely. Looking forward to that. Talked to Day and Frioli and the boys over there. And we'll be under the tent. Mikey is becoming a staple, even though it looks like Major League Talks and the Players Union are starting to kind of gain some ground as they're coming back with another proposal on each side. So we'll see. We will see what the latest is on Mikey. We'll definitely keep our Friday Freds going if and when Mikey is called to work with Major League Baseball. Because that is a cool environment. Now, LSU baseball over the weekend. Tigers lose 2 of 3 at the Shriners Classic. They down Oklahoma on Friday in dramatic fashion as Jordan Thompson in a walk-off and extras in the 10th inning secures the victory for LSU over the Sooners and then sets up a bout versus Texas on Saturday. 6-1 Tigers fall there. And then last night they fall to Baylor after a 6th inning home run by the Bears really busted it open for Baylor, and LSU's on the wrong end last night. I'm not going to get too much into it because I didn't watch a ton of it. I watched a little bit of the Texas game on Saturday night. I was peeking at last night's game, at least through the first couple of innings. It got too late on me, man.
Me too.
And then on Friday, I was down into that 3 o'clock start. Defensively, LSU's just... they're as bad as I can remember them being an early part of the season. And I know that Maneri really, he put an emphasis on defense, and he was always trying to find almost, you remember LSU had like shortstops all over the field, like high school shortstops. They'd have them all, a second baseman, third baseman, shortstop, obviously. I mean, he put an emphasis on hands in the infield, and LSU just for right now, and even, over the years, LSU's outfield has been almost like a track team. When you think of like Stevenson and Laird and those guys, Jared Mitchell that's been through here, and even Montauk.
Like the guys, Leon Landry.
Dudes. Just covering ground, and to see the way that Jacob Berry struggled to get to a couple of balls. You know what I mean? You think that Gio would. That's a can of corn.
You would hope
for DiGiacomo.
And DiGiacomo, you need him for defense, and he hasn't been able to find it at the dish lately. So it's a lot of give and take, and this is what you get with a Jay Johnson-led team.
Absolutely.
There obviously is a very big emphasis put on the offensive side of the ball, and they're making Trey Morgan. They're going to win him a Gold Glove just by the fact that their defense stinks.
Yeah,
he's over there trying to pick everything. I don't think he's worked this hard since high school.
Yeah, no, it's tough to watch how bad they are defensively because
they're throwing balls away on pickoff opportunities, it's stuff you can't
balls bouncing around, getting through. It's tough to watch, but it's still early in the season, and I think evaluation of this baseball team and kind of living and dying by it is
it does make it interesting.
Is a little irresponsible, but I will say, it does. It looks so bad. I don't know if they can get it right.
The disparity is
it's
glaring.
bad. It's bad.
Yes.
They mash.
Yeah,
they crush, but
you see what happens when they go up against a top tier team like Texas.
A good pitching.
Even Baylor's starter last night had him confused early on.
Why was he all wet?
I don't know. Was that the problem?
I think he had a little something because we started watching it after our little show.
When he was being asked, you could kind of his face was kind of like,
I don't know what's going on either.
Yeah, he had like.
It was obvious. It was soaking through his shirt.
And then after he changed the shirt,
it happened again.
He still has stuff coming through the jersey. So it's like I don't know. I think he had a little something going on under the jersey.
We'll have to ask Mikey. We'll shoot him a text and see if he knows, or when he comes in, he'll probably talk about it a little bit on his show. But I assumed the only thing that I could come up with that was not cheating, because that obviously, if it was cheating, he would have to have left the game.
Yeah,
maybe getting that ice wrapped over the shirt.
I don't know if like the maybe the moisture on the ball was like coming. I don't know, man.
No
but there was something that Jay Johnson saw that he stopped the game and was like, "What's up, man?"
Look, there's no way. One shoulder was the right color. The regular uniform color, and then his other shoulder was like a whole different color. It's seeping through the jersey, through the shirt. Like, what you got going on?
Yeah, what's up?
All
dude?
the umpires come up. He's like,
some icy hot over there, dude.
I don't know what was going on, but like he looked like he was like, oh shit, they caught me.
He did. I thought he did too. I thought he did too.
And then like after, you could tell like he was like, fuck, they caught me. So now I got to throw like.
And then
different.
like when he came back out, he was kind of like, all right, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm back. I'm back.
I'm just gonna keep doing this until they kick me off the team.
Remember, we're brought to you by Edward Jones, our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. Let him help you today with any financial advice that you may be seeking. Get in touch with him. The easiest is going to be by emailing him at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. It's daniel.newman. Jesus, man.
Unless he's just a profusely.
That's what I'm saying.
That's something.
Not sweat.
That ain't sweat.
Unless he sweats profusely,
it's
just
matted
one
down
arm.
on his shoulder.
That's what I'm saying. It's like matted on his uniform.
It's weird. That's weird.
That's weird.
That's strange.
I've never seen
that's
that
weird.
before.
That's weird. What is not weird is Daniel Newman's financial advice. He can help you out, and he can turn it around pretty quickly for you. We rolled over our 401k last season, and he's done a tremendous job of giving us a really good return in just 1 year. Get in touch with him at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. It's daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Phone number simple, 225-261-8262. 225-261-8262. He's located in Magnolia Square out in central Louisiana. Let him help you today, right across from Stab's Restaurant. Daniel Newman, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. It's 225-261-8262. We will talk to Will Wade, LSU head basketball coach, coming up here in a couple of minutes. We'll get back to the baseball talk. I know a lot of you are annoyed and aggravated by the baseball weekend. Still time to improve it. I still think that he's trying to tinker and find what he's got, right? I mean, he's obviously not secure in his three-man rotation on the weekend. I think Blake Money is your guy. You know you've got a dude in Money. And then kind of everybody after that, you're going to have to find out, where everybody stands. How much do you trust? He didn't throw Mikhail Hilliard at all over the weekend. He says he's going to get the start Tuesday night versus McNeese. So we'll see what happens with this pecking order and the pitching staff and how he uses these arms. The offense is fantastic. You can see that the offense has a very high skill level, but the defense, man, geez. What the hell? I mean,
What the hell?
It is. I mean, they kick it around out there, bro.
Yeah, dude.
They bad news bears it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, it's bad.
Circus it.
And when it gets bad, it gets worse.
Southern Eye Center poll question of the first hour. 25% off when you mention the Jordy Culotta show over at the Southern Eye Center on Jefferson Highway. Our good friend Annie Shaw over there. Make sure and mention it. Do you think Baylor was cheating last night? Simple yes or no on the poll question. Make sure and cast your vote over there. And if you can remember, get over to Southern Eye Center of Baton Rouge when you're moving around this week and stop in if you're looking for new sunglasses. St. Patrick's Day, less than 2 weeks away. Hopefully the weather will be good for there for that Saturday. If so, make sure you got your newest style of shades. Pick them up over at Southern Eye Center of Baton Rouge. Of course, our poll sponsor here on the Jordy Culotta Show. You mentioned Jordy Culotta Show over at Southern Eye Center of Baton Rouge. They'll take 25% off of your sunglass selection over there. All right, Will Wade.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned LSU Baseball. They had the lawns out on the Barstool Sportsbook. Mincy finally got the push.
Big win for Mincy.
Big win for Mincy. And if you're betting LSU Baseball, just bet the over.
Yeah.
Because they're kicking it around out there, but they will score some runs.
Will Wade next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure and like, share, comment. We appreciate your interaction and starting your Monday here with us. We'll be back in 30 seconds with the General heading into SEC Basketball Tournament Week.
Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com.
Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show live on this Monday morning. Good start to it as the LSU basketball team get the win over the weekend versus Nate Oates and the Tide. A great call by Chris Blair at the end of the game. If anybody has not heard it, it was fantastic as Blair shouted at Nate Oates, somebody tell Nate Oates to get out of here. After the 80-77 win for the Tigers in OT, Darius Days, as Coach Will Wade said, he can't remember all of Days' games through the 4 years, but that seemed like one of his best, man. He had 24 for LSU on Saturday. Tigers get 21 wins in the regular season. Third time in the Will Wade era, Tigers have surpassed the 20-win mark, and they're heading back to March, and they're heading to the SEC tournament as the 5 seed. They're waiting on the winner of Ole Miss, Missouri on Thursday, and the General is here with us here on this Monday morning. Salute to you, sir. Boot up. Great win on Saturday. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. You've had a little time to think about it. Darius Days, his performance on Saturday, Coach. Your thoughts on his game on Saturday, and then as you said and pointed out, and we told our listening audience to really pay respects to it, because I don't know how much more you'll see a 4-year senior stay in one place in college basketball like Days has done.
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly, I thought that game and the Florida game at Florida were his 2 best games of the season. I think it was definitely one of his best games of his career, just the way he played inside and outside and was able to score around the rim, and was also making threes. He made his free throws. I just thought he played a really good all-around game. I thought, his 3 best games this year were that game, Florida, and the Louisiana Tech game. I thought he played really well in those games. And yeah, I mean, it's everybody everybody's jumping around now so much. There'll be very few at the Power 5 level, 4-year seniors, and especially 4-year seniors that are, double-digit scorers 3 of the 4 years, like real contributors. That doesn't happen anymore. And I give him a ton of credit for sticking around and sticking it out. And, he really does enjoy college. He enjoys it here. He loves LSU. I was joking with him. I sent him a picture the night before the game for when he signed with us at IMG and how young he looked. And he was laughing with me. But he's been great. He's been no problems on or off the court. He's done everything we've asked him to do. And I'm so excited that he went out like he was able to on Saturday afternoon.
From your point of view, your team seems like they're finding their footing again. It seems like they're playing with the same type of confidence and swagger that they were playing early on at your best. From the head coach's seat, where do you feel like your team is heading into March?
Well, we're making progress. I think we're getting some of that back. Thought we've played really well the last 3 or 4 games for majority of the games. We still, we're just so aggressive. We make way too many mistakes later on in games, and we've got to get that fixed. We're going to spend all of our time leading up to the tournament since we don't necessarily know our opponent, although Missouri has beaten Ole Miss twice this year. Since we don't really know our opponent, we're going to spend a ton of time on all of our late game situations, 6-minute games. The end of the first half has hurt us. Everybody, you look at the Arkansas game and we gave up that bucket at the end of the first half. That was a killer. You look at Saturday's game, we have the ball and we turn it over and give up a layup to give them the lead. Like some of that stuff, that's where you win in the margins in March, and that stuff cannot happen. Yeah. Just cannot happen. And so we can't relax. We've got to be on point with that. And those were 2 baskets that one of them was detrimental to us, and one of them certainly could have been detrimental to us. So we've got to work on cleaning that stuff up. But I think we're playing hard, and we got to get in there with X, and he's a good shooter, and he's made 29% from the field in SEC play and 14% from 3. So we got to get in there, and we're going to get in there and work on him with his shot. We know what's wrong with it. We just got to get it corrected here today and tomorrow. And so we got a lot of little things like that we can clean up and fix. And I thought Brandon Murray started to play back better. We got to keep Days consistent. We got to have Tari do what he does. And, then we need, Mwani keep hitting those corner threes. I think Gaines played really well Saturday. He's been playing better. Then we need some of these, we need Sharif and some of these other guys to step up because we're going to need them in tournament play. Step up, make some plays for us.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Gaines' performance. Not only the 2 free throws at the end of the game with 7 seconds left, but it seemed like he played with a calmness about him on Saturday that it looked like he was very comfortable out there.
He was. I thought he played very calm. I thought he had a lot of more poise to him. He was a lot more solid defensively when we needed him to be. I thought he was much better. I thought he did a nice job at Arkansas as well. He gambled one time in the 6-minute game, which led to a layup, but he's getting better. He's getting better with that. He's getting better with his poise. He's getting better with his, with just his overall court presence, and we've got to continue that.
16 steals. What's that number say to you?
Well, we played hard. I think we're like 7 steals from the all-time steals record for the school.
Yeah.
Something like that. So, we're playing hard. It's what our defense is built to do. And so, it's been, when our offense is as sputtery as this offense is, and we've gotten better offensively. We've scored over a point per possession each of the last 4 games in SEC play, which has been huge. We hadn't done that very often early in the year, but it's just a byproduct of us cutting down the daggum turnovers. Mm-hmm. Our turnovers have finally gotten under control a little bit. Turned it over 13 times against Bama in an overtime game, but at Arkansas we only turned it over 10. So we've got our turnovers a little bit more under control. I think Missouri was 12. So we need our defense to create offense. That's for sure. That's how we can get some easy baskets, can score easily, and so we definitely need that.
How do you use this week to prepare when you don't know who your opponent yet is going to be, and then you don't play until later in the week when you've been playing midweek and Saturday games?
Look, we're gonna spend a lot of our time. And we were off yesterday. We're just gonna do some shooting groups and stuff today. Nothing crazy for that. but look, we got to work on a lot of the little things. We've got to work on, there's a lot of special situation stuff. I've cut back so much on practice that I haven't gotten all of there's some free throw plays. There's some stuff we just don't have in that we need in for, it could be the difference in the tournament. And so we got to have everybody ready to execute and run the stuff. And so I've got to work on that stuff. Work on some packages for the end of the half. We're getting better at starting the second half. We've been better in those situations. So at this point, it's all in the margins, and we've got to work the margins, and we'll do that tomorrow morning. We'll do some vitamins. We'll practice tomorrow afternoon, then we'll fly over to Tampa.
It was good to see number 44 dressed out. It was good to see Adam Miller on the end of the bench in that jersey. It will. Obviously, it's a hell of a game of what if he's eligible this season, but I know his progress is leaving everybody excited of what is going to be when he returns.
Yeah, he's been progressing well, and look, I ain't one to make excuses, but
sure.
20
points a night, Coach. Shit.
But people, for just a little perspective now. We were picked 6th in the SEC with him, when people thought we had him. We were predicted 6th in the SEC, and we came in 5th without it. So, give some of these guys some credit. I know it was a little bit of a up and down season, and then everything got out of whack because we started out quite a bit better than we expected. But I promise you this: if you'd have walked in our locker room at the beginning of the year when Adam Miller went down and said, "Guys, we're going to go to the NCAA tournament and we're going to win 20+ games," everybody in that locker room would have signed up for it, because there was a lot of people that doubted what was going on, myself included. I presented a front that I was confident and everything was great. I think you were at the practice when I gave the speech before practice, where I got up there and kind of faked it that, look, everybody's going to know who we are. But shoot, I didn't know what we had.
Yeah,
I was worried. I was worried sick. And, I thought, give our guys credit for grinding this thing out this season. It could have gone a lot different. And Adams was a huge part of what we were going to do. He was obviously been a huge part of our backcourt. He could play point guard. He could do a lot of different things for us, and his recovery is going well. As soon as the season's over, we're going to go back out to the specialist in LA, and I think he's going to clear him to do quite a bit more. But he's been working really, really hard with his recovery. He's back to where he can shoot a little bit and do a few things, and so we're excited to when we can get him back and get him going.
The TV cameras caught you on Saturday directing a statement at Tari at the end of the game when he committed that foul, and then he was able to get back and get the steal and knock down the layup, and he said it after the game. He said, "I screwed up, and I had to really redeem myself on Saturday." Once again, he has 20 points. He has the key block. What do you make of his performance?
Well, he's a playmaker. He plays so hard, and he's going to make plays. The biggest thing is he played all of overtime with 4 fouls. The biggest, the foul at the end of regulation, obviously we didn't want to put him on the free throw line, but also it was just 4th foul. So I said, God, if we go to overtime and he fouls out, we're going to, slim pickings. So, I thought, look, he made the play of the game. That block he made to go block it and go dunk it on the other end is just an unbelievable play. I think that was our 39th shot clock violation of the year. It came at a really opportune time at the end of the half. Or at the end of the game there, and our guys did a good job denying Quinterly and forcing somebody else, JD, to have to make a play. And he's a great player, but I thought the crowd rattled them, and I thought it was just a total team effort.
Your defense has been excelling in that, whether it was JT Notte or it was Quinterly, like you said. You can see Alabama was confused, Arkansas was confused when they couldn't get it to their primary guy to just settle them in. Your defense has done a fantastic job of taking that number one threat away.
Yeah, we've been trying to do that lately. We've just been trying to make sure they're best guys. I feel like, people are making their game plan around Tari, around Penson. Arkansas did a great job of making Penson see bodies, which made life rough for him. But, I think you got to take away, especially down the stretch, you got to take away the other team's best threats and make, if 2, 3, and 4 can beat you, then, sometimes you got to live with that. But you got to make them play, make them play a little bit differently than how they've been playing all year and how they're used to playing. And, we've got a couple other little tricks we've been working on the last couple of weeks that we haven't pulled out that I want to have ready and want to be able to use when we need them.
21-10 for the Tigers overall this season. 9-9 in conference play. They will open up the SEC tournament, their SEC tournament action on Thursday as they await the winner of Ole Miss and Missouri. If they win that one, they'll face Arkansas on Friday. Boot up, Coach. Great regular season. We're riding with you in March. Can't wait to see what goes on.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Boot up.
There he is.
Boot up.
Will Wade checking in this morning for a recap of the weekend, a look ahead of SEC tournament week. Remember, every time Coach Wade is here, it is brought to you by Phil's Oyster Bar. Our friends over at Phil's, Anthony Piazza, and the crew over there. Stop in and see them in Southdown Shopping Center today for great lunch specials. They've got great char-grilled and raw oysters over there. A staple of Baton Rouge, Anthony Piazza, and a huge LSU basketball fan. Each time Coach Wade is here with us, that is compliments of Phil's over there in Southdown Shopping Center. So thanks to Coach Wade for stopping in here on this Monday morning. You can hear in his voice, he's got a little bit of rejuvenation there on his team as he comes down the regular season stretch as they closed the door on that on Saturday, and they finished 21-10. Look, they had toughest schedule in the league. And as Coach Wade said there, you take Adam Miller out of that lineup just a couple of days before the opening of the season, and you remove, 20 to 25 points a night in the scoring droughts that this program has seen over the last couple of weeks and months. I mean, it's a totally different squad with him. And like he said, they were preseason picked 6th with Miller. They finished 5th without him. What can this team do in the postseason? Yet to be determined, but I don't see them advancing past the second weekend. I think that they're a second weekend type team. Depends on the matchups, obviously, because they could be a nightmare of a matchup for a lot of teams. I mean, when they get out and start running and they're athletic and they're hitting the glass and their defense is turning into offense, there's a lot of teams out there that would bring a lot of concern to if LSU's on the opposite bench. So depends on what the draw is going to look like for LSU going into March, but Tigers are definitely going to stamp their ticket to postseason play. Right now, Joe Lunardi's got them a 6th seed out west, opening round in San Diego, which might be an assignment for the crew there, man. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Get the Jeep back
little
out.
Hawaii shirt.
Unbuttoned.
Hawaii LSU shirt.
Yeah.
Button down LSU.
We know a guy that sports that thing quite often.
That's right. Okay, so there is Will Wade checking in here on this Monday morning. We talked a little bit about baseball. We talked a little bit about Wade, and then at the start of the show, we were joined by Michael Doherty, who is a 4-star safety out of Logan'sville, Georgia, one of the top safeties in the 2023 recruiting cycle. He was in town this past weekend for LSU football's Junior Day. And if you're watching on YouTube, on Facebook, on JordyCulottaShow.com, you see the newspaper clippings. That was the kind of the base of the table for LSU's crawfish boil that they had this weekend, which was headlines of LSU over the years, over the past couple of seasons, and all the success, whether it was in recruiting or games. There's even the clippings of Brian Kelly being announced as the head coach. A nice little twist, nice little kiss of marketing for the marketing department and LSU's recruiting department over the weekend. We talked to Michael Doherty, as we said, the safety from Atlanta, Georgia, Logan'sville, Georgia, who was here really just right at the top of the show. He's obviously a high school kid, and he was going class to class, so he kind of just checked in on his move on his high school campus this morning. Really bright kid, really good insight. Really talked about the relationship that he was able to form with the staff over the weekend, and it seems like Brian Kelly and those guys are really doing a lot of good stuff as far as recruiting is concerned, Frank Wilson and the crew. Now, the story that is dominating the college football wire this morning, which, look, it's talking season for college football, and right now, the biggest story in the sport right now is that Arizona State's quarterback, Jayden Daniels, is officially reporting and transferring to LSU. Daniels is a former 4-star quarterback out of California. He passed for over 6,000 yards and 32 touchdowns in 3 seasons at Arizona State. He's also rushed for over 1,213 touchdowns on the ground. he will join a loaded quarterback room, right? Miles Brennan, who announced a couple of months ago that he is returning to LSU after putting his name into the transfer portal. Kelly, Frank Wilson, offensive staff, Mike Denbrock, and crew were able to talk Brennan out of the portal back to LSU. So he's in the room as a senior. Garrett Nussmeier is in that room as a redshirt freshman. And then Walker Howard is going to come in as a 5-star, top overall quarterback, one of the tops in the country, with the intent of redshirting. It seems like Howard is going to be a guy that's going to, he's going to have to get healthy. But there's not much intent of him taking meaningful snaps in his true freshman season. Daniel's going to have 2 years of eligibility remaining at LSU. So what does that do to the quarterback dominoes, right? What does that do to the shuffle of the room? At this point, we talked about this last week. This is not surprising to me because when you step away and look at the whiteboard of the quarterback room at LSU, right? Everything that's there. Miles Brennan, established guy, has the tenure, has the days in college football, but doesn't have the security of making it through a season injury-free when it was time for him to play. So you've got Brennan, the senior, the guy that inevitably it feels like it's his job, but do you have the confidence from a coaching standpoint that he can make it through this season healthy? And his track record would tell you no. So from a coaching standpoint, you've got to prepare for that, right? And if you're looking at that room and you're saying you're a snap away from Garrett Nussmeier being your full-time starter as a redshirt freshman, you're 2 snaps away from having to burn a red shirt on Walker Howard, who you want to get healthy, and you really want him to sit back and have an opportunity to watch the speed, the flow, and get used to college football. Maybe he has to play or can play a couple of games, and he doesn't burn his red shirt. All in all, that's a successful season for LSU. But are you committed or are you secure enough that you can take all these guys in and you can be competitive? And from Brian Kelly's standpoint, I understand where, from a security standpoint, he would say, hey, we need one more established guy. We need one guy who we can count on who says, look, he's played, he's started, he's competed at a high level. He understands what the speed of the game is at this point in his career. And Jayden Daniels, why I don't see him as being a savior. He may not even be the starter. But I see him as being a viable candidate to compete. And I see him as a security blanket that if he's not the starter, he's somebody that you can throw in there that has game experience, that's not just going, to let it run down his leg. So, I understand why LSU has done this. I understand why LSU has put another guy in that room just from a competition standpoint. But when you step away from it, you look down what LSU's playing with. They signed 15 high school prospects, and they got 13 transfers out of the portal. Daniels will put the signee count at 14 transfers with 29 total scholarship signees in for the 2022 cycle. That means he's got 3 open spots remaining before he hits that 32 signee cap. With the transfers, the signees, and Daniels is in that mix now. LSU will open spring practice on March 23rd. Put it on the poll.
That's what I was about to ask you.
Poll question. Southern Eye Center. Poll question of the day. Who's your starting quarterback when LSU takes the field again against Florida State in the Superdome next August?
I think it's Jayden Daniels.
Is it Daniels? Is it Brennan? Is it Nussmeier?
Ooh.
Could Nuss make a run at this thing? But now with Jayden Daniels in the mix, who, again, technically has 2 years of eligibility remaining at LSU. So he's not coming in here as just a 1-year stopgap for LSU. That would be Brennan. Daniels has got 2 years remaining. We'll see. I know that Joe Sloan was huge in the recruitment of this. Sloan, of course, the quarterback's coach at LSU. After speaking to some people with LSU's football program, they are very high on what Sloan can do for the quarterback development in that room, all in all, not just for Daniels, Nussmeier, Howard, even Brennan. So it'll be interesting to see how that room continues to evolve and develop over the next couple of months, weeks, with spring on the horizon. As we said, spring will start March 23rd for LSU. Brennan and Nussmeier have 4 combined starts between them. It's easy to understand why Brian Kelly in year 1 looks at that number and says, whoa. We got to make sure that we've got somebody in place that can add some more depth to the quarterback room at LSU. If you're looking at only 4 combined starts with the experienced guys in that quarterback room, and you've got Walker Howard coming in after, some offseason medical stuff that he's dealing with, that's not the security you're looking for in year 1 to be competitive in the SEC. You're looking for another guy that you can throw into the mix from just a standpoint of, hey, man, we got to have the bodies. You got to have the depth. You got to have the security of, if you're on the road in the conference and somebody gets knocked out, that you don't have to look at, Garrett Nussmeier 6 games in who hadn't taken a snap and only has, 2 starts in his college career to say, hey, man, get in there and go play. We'll see, man. Poll question is up. Southern Eye Center, Jefferson Highway. Stop in there. Mention the Jordy Culotta show. They take 25% off the sunglass selection over there with Dr. Andy Shaw. But Miles Brennan, Jayden Daniels, Garrett Nussmeier. If Walker Howard starts a game for LSU that means anything, they're in serious trouble. Big trouble. Walker Howard's got to get healthy first. He is the future of LSU football. No question about it. That's exactly why you don't want to fast play him into his first year. Take it slow, get him medically right, let him see the speed of the game, take him on road trips, let him see road environments. If there's an opportunity to put him into blowouts or, get him some good experience, maybe throw him out there when you feel like he's healthy enough to go do it, but he should never take a meaningful snap in the next 365 days. Jayden Daniels, Miles Brennan, Garrett Nussmeier, those guys got to be ready to play. What's the possibility that Brennan goes through spring and sees that he may not be the guy and he puts his name back into the portal?
How healthy is he really?
I don't know that.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know. You mentioned how many games has he played in at LSU, and he's been here for 5 years?
He started 2.
He started 2 games.
He started Mississippi State and Missouri. Now, he's played in a lot of games, right? He saw some action in 19 with Burrow, where he got in there.
He saw some in
17 in Alabama
against Troy.
Shit, he played against Alabama.
Yeah, he did.
Turn on that film.
Yes.
He looks 14 years old out there. His arms look like spaghetti noodles coming out of his shoulder pads. He has no business being out there. But Cam Cameron and Les Miles signed Miles Brennan, to give you an idea of just how far back Miles Brennan dates at LSU, right? And the thing about Brennan that I think is, very endearing, and I think that, especially the rabid part of the fan base can understand, is that Brennan grew up wanting to play football for LSU, right? I think that's all the majority of our fandom starts, right? We all see ourselves in purple and gold. We all see ourselves running out of the chute on a Saturday night. That's how it all kind of starts for you as a kid. But then, ultimately you kind of grow up and you realize, oh, okay, it's pretty hard to do. It's hard to get a scholarship and play at LSU. It's even harder to play quarterback at that position. At that school. And Brennan really kind of, he's right there. He's right there. He's been there for 5 years. He's been in that quarterback room. He's had opportunities to start. He's been the starter. He's been the backup to Burrow. He's won the national championship. He's seen it at the elite level. He wants it. He's always wanted it. can you tell anybody, man, stop chasing it? So from that standpoint, you pull for Brennan. You feel like, man, he's paid his dues. He's gone through all the adversity. He's gone through all of the injuries. Now's the time, right? And still, as I sit here and tell you the quarterback breakdown, I don't know. If I was betting on it, I'd probably bet on Nussmeier or Daniels to win the job. I think that Myles Brennan is an elite passer of the football and has as good arm strength as you'll probably find in football, all levels. I really believe that Myles Brennan could probably get a spot on an NFL roster just because of his ability to throw the football. I really do. I don't think that there's a pass in the game that Brennan can't make. I mean, he's got a whip for an arm. But he can't move. He's got injury concerns. And he's playing this year against, behind, again, another questionable offensive line going into the season. They may surprise us. Will Campbell, Miles Frazier, some of these incoming guys, Emory Jones that may step up and play. They may, bring some stability to the unit. You finally have some guys up there that can protect. But right now, it's a question mark for LSU again. And if you've got Brennan standing in cement behind an offensive line that can't protect, it doesn't matter if he's Dan Marino or if he's Myles Brennan. Guys that are immobile behind a bad offensive line are in trouble. And I don't know if this team best suits Myles Brennan to be the starter. So if he comes out of spring and he realizes, oh shit, this is about to happen to me again. As a fifth-year senior, how could you blame him for just saying, you know what, man, I'm going to Southern Miss. I'm going to Tulane. I'm going to McNeese. I'm going to Southeast. I'm going somewhere where I can start and play every single down, put film out there, have a good experience in playing football, and see if I can play at the next level. Or do you gamble? Going through the offseason, the summer at LSU, the fall camp, and wondering, are you going to be the starter or not? There's a possibility that two other guys, don't count Nussmeier out of this competition. I'm not counting Nussmeier out of this thing. Just because he's got two guys older than him in this competition does not mean to me that Nussmeier can't jump up and snag this starting spot. New coaching staff. He's got the skill set that fits a 2022 offense in college football better than just about anybody in that room, or as good as anybody in that room. He's got the confidence and swagger where he believes he's the top dog. And he's going through an offseason where he knows he's right there. He's right there. So I'd imagine his jump, his leap from year 1 to year 2 is going to be very great. The stride he makes between year 1 and year 2 is going to be enough where Sloan, Denbrock, Kelly all say, shit. I mean, Nussmeier he's in this thing, man. I mean, you can't count him out. It's not just going to be Daniels or Brennan because they're the experienced guys. And if that's Myles Brennan's point of view where you're like, fuck, I thought it was just going to be me versus Nussmeier. Now it's me versus another senior, another guy with experience, another guy that comes in here with a different skill set than me. I don't know. I'm not trying to build storylines. I'm just saying, what if? I mean, I could see it where Brennan comes out of spring and says, writing's on the wall. You're going to be in it, but you're not going to be the guy. And he just says, I'm going to be the guy. How could you blame him? It's so easy today in college football. The players have all the power. And this is really kind of the example that it's built for. I've done my time. I've paid my dues. I've given the university everything I can. I want to be here. I want to play. But I don't know if I am. And I've only started 2 games. I want to go play, man. I mean, at the end of it, he's a football player. I know that we will crack on him, but you look at him and, he's hunting, he's fishing, he's dancing at walk-ons, he's doing stuff where you're like, maybe he doesn't really care. He still loves football. wants to play. So if he goes through spring, man, Daniels, which I think is a huge advantage for Daniels. He's here today. He's enrolled. He's going to be ready for spring practice on March 23rd. He's going to be in the offseason workouts. By the time fall gets here, he's going to be in Baton Rouge for 8 months, 7 months. He'll be comfortable. He'll know what it looks like, how it operates. Be interesting, man.
Do you think that there's no world where both of them are on the opening day roster?
Maybe. I'm not saying.
I would imagine.
But I think once it starts, no, I don't think Daniels is going. He can't transfer twice.
But I think they both come here with the intention to start. Like that, Jayden Daniels left Arizona State because it's a shitstorm over there, and then he saw LSU. He's like, well, I'm coming there to play. Miles Brennan came back to LSU to play. So I would imagine when it gets down to it, one of the two is going to be able to have to make a decision, like you said, where I don't know why I'm here if I'm not going to be the starting quarterback. And the same thing goes for Garrett Nussmeier. The way that this room looks now will probably not look the same in the fall.
Daily, we're brought to you by Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. Remember, online at CajunRMC.com. Get in touch with Cajun Ready Mix today by logging online, CajunRMC.com. There's no project that is too big or too small for Cajun RMC, Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. CajunRMC.com is where you can find them online. Remember, whether it's industrial, residential, municipal, get in touch with them at Cajun Ready Mix. They've got 9 plants around the greater Baton Rouge area, 9 concrete plants around the greater Baton Rouge area. What that means to you is that when you order your concrete, it'll be there on time and to the exact specification. Get in touch with the crew over at Cajun Ready Mix, Bradley K. Rose, Stephen Cheatham, and everybody over there. Online, CajunRMC.com, CajunRMC.com. Let's keep this conversation going. Sonny Ship from Go247. We'll dial him up and see what he thinks here about the obviously we want to get the latest on this this junior day as we talk to Michael Doherty, who was the safety out of Atlanta. Seemed like he had a great time. I know, buddy. My bad. Hold tight. My bad. All right, we go straight to Sonny Ship, our good friend of the show. The OG, our guy, Katie, the carpool queen, has just walked in. She wants to come sit down. You want to get it? As we welcome in this Monday morning, it's good to welcome in Sonny into the conversation. Good morning, buddy. Sorry we're late.
What's happening, my man?
Doing all right?
Oh, yeah, dude, for a Monday morning. How about you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. We started it off pretty quick.
Coming off that baseball weekend. That was a tough weekend.
It was a tough one. They got to get their defense right.
Thank God I didn't make that drive, huh?
I know. They got to get their defense right.
Man.
Sonny, let's start.
Elementary, it seems.
I know. Let's start with, before we get to the junior day, we talked to Michael Doherty, the safety out of Logansville, to start today's show. Very bright, very, he sounded like he had a great weekend. But let's start with the big news of Jayden Daniels. It seems like that news broke yesterday that he is coming to LSU after putting his name into the transfer portal. 3-year starter over at Arizona State with 2 years of eligibility remaining. What do you make of the player, and what's that do for the room?
Well, what do you get? What are you getting? Are you getting the JT Daniels that you saw in 2019? I think 2020, when you only play 4 games, that can be a wash. Or are you getting the JT Daniels that you saw in 2021? Are you getting the guy that when he announced he was transferring, his teammates basically, emptied out his locker for him? So I think there's a lot of questions on just what type of player and who you're getting with JT Daniels. But, I said this back when Caleb Williams entered the transfer portal, and there was the flirtation with LSU, and there was speculation of, what would happen if Caleb Williams came here. And I believe I said this on your show as well, that I think the days of having more than 3 scholarship quarterbacks on the roster are pretty much gone with the transfer portal these days. And so I think when you bring in that 4th one right here, I think the writing is on the wall that, the 3-person room that you had that you started the spring semester with is probably going to be down to 2 by the time June gets around here. And so, I think the big question is, who does this affect the most? How does it affect them? And from a competition standpoint, with getting in there with Miles Brennan, for the starting job, I think you really have to kind of look at it from a situation now of saying, okay, competition is good. It's going to make, both guys really work to get where they need to get. But whoever doesn't come on top, how are they going to feel come summertime?
You got a feeling on who odd man out is? I kind of feel like it's Brennan.
You think it's going to be Brennan? I think it's going to be. I kind of feel like it's going to be Nuss.
Really?
Yeah,
but don't you think from a coaching standpoint, like if we're just playing stock, and if coaches are, and I don't mean to do this, but I mean, behind the doors, I mean, this is how the coaching staff is looking at it. The stock would say the long play would be to stick with Nuss, right? Like if you can get through a season with Daniels, Nuss, and or one of them, right? Like, I mean, do you want to hold on to Nuss? If you got the choice of Brennan and Nussmeier, don't you say, man, Brennan, I understand. I get it. You want to go 1 year and be the guy. I mean, you let him go to Southern Miss or Tulane for a year with the intent of hanging on to Nuss because of what the future could be.
Yeah, and I guess my question with Brennan, my question on that with Brennan would be, okay, you go through the spring, you see what you got. Do you give it a summer too, knowing that in your back pocket you have 2 more years? Brennan because Brennan still has that 2020 year that he could use, if he potentially gets a medical red shirt for last year, so you could all of a sudden be looking at, he could stick around this year and then go to, you go to Southern Miss or Houston or somewhere like that, and then tear it up for that year. But, he's probably going to be, 24, 25 years old?
Jeez, Brennan with that Culotta college plan, bro.
We get to mine, dude.
General studies, 7 years. I just wanted to taste all of the colleges, man. I just wanted to go through all of them.
The Tommy Boy plan.
Dude, I thought I was flying solo in that 7-year General Studies league.
No. Welcome to it. Salute, General.
I knew you and I had more in common than just sports.
Sonny Ship joining us here, 247. That's right. Covering recruiting and talking a little with the latest transfer for LSU.
A little
football.
dumbness.
Yeah, right. No direction for you kids out there. But we talked to Michael Doherty, the 4-star safety out of Logansville this morning. It seemed like the recruiting weekend was fantastic, at least from what the impression that Kelly and crew made on the guys that were on campus this weekend. Did you get that in the people that you spoke with?
Yeah, I did. And I think and I think going into the weekend, usually in the past when LSU kind of goes into junior days and stuff, thinking back to Les Miles and even under Orgeron, it seemed like there was always pressure of, okay, who's going to commit? Who are we going to get to commit? Are we going to get 1? Are we going to get 2? Oh, let's get 4 or 5. Let's make a big splash. But it seems like going into this weekend, there was a totally different focus. And the focus wasn't necessarily on picking up commitments. The focus was on getting to know the prospects, getting to know their families, getting to know their coaches, their inner circle that they're going to work with through the recruiting process. And that seems like it carried a bigger focal point as opposed to, let's see what kind of splash we can make on the recruiting trail. And I think that goes back to Brian Kelly, having that CEO personality and temperament that we've all talked about and that everyone has talked about so much. I think you see that he sees some of the mistakes that LSU has made in the past, whether it be from an evaluation standpoint, whether it be from a character standpoint of just not really knowing, the inner workings of the kid and his inner circle and all of that. Whereas this weekend, it was just about, okay, let's just get to know these guys. Let's get to know these guys. Let's see if what we know right now checks out from when we get to see them in person. You get to put an eye on them to see how big they are, but then you also get to talk to them. You get to talk to them, you get to ask them questions and talk about some of the things that you may have talked about through text, through Zoom, or on the phone. Then you get to judge some facial reactions. You get to judge some body language. And I think a guy like Brian Kelly, who is just, he just seems so methodical and complete with the process that he has, that was kind of just the focus of, okay, let's get to know these guys before we really push for them. Let's see who we really want to push for, instead of pushing for the star next to their name or the recruiting ranking or what other people think about them. Let's see what we think about them and then make that push. And so I think that, I think that approach it's probably, I think it's a measured and a calculated approach that Brian Kelly probably catches himself in right now, of not repeating some of the mistakes that were made in the past. And I think in doing that, he's probably going to be a lot more methodical in how he approaches bringing guys into the program.
5-star quarterback Dante Moore was down on over the weekend. He's got offers from everybody in the country. As a junior, he threw for 3,000 yards and 40 touchdowns and only 3 picks. Where does LSU sit with him? And I'd imagine that this is a relationship that Brian Kelly and Brian Polian had established while they were at Notre Dame.
Yeah, and now it's all about Joe Sloan, Mike Denbrock, being able to kind of take that relationship and being able to expand it and bring it down south and bring it down to LSU. And, I think that's going to be the biggest key with Moore is, does he leave the Midwest? If he leaves the Midwest, then I think LSU put itself in position to be one of his very top choices. I think the biggest question though is going to be getting him out of the Midwest. Yeah. There seems to be a lot of folks who think that is the biggest, the biggest tie or the biggest connection right now is him wanting to stay in that part of the country. That if he gets to that point to where it's like, okay, yeah, let's going south or going west or wherever isn't really that big of a deal, then I think you'll see LSU be there for him. But right now, my gut tells me that getting him out of the Midwest is still going to be the hurdle.
Sonny, LSU's class, or the state of Louisiana's class, was so talented in this class of 22 cycle. LSU obviously was going through a coaching change. What's the reputation of this cycle? What does the state have in abundance? What is the state missing out on? What does LSU need to capitalize on during this cycle?
Well, I think when you look at the 2022 class, I think it was top heavy. You look at Will Campbell, one of the top offensive tackles in the country. Obviously, Walker Howard, one of the top quarterbacks in the country. You can go down the list, Jacoby Matthews, and on down. And when you look at 2023, I think you're in a very similar situation. Obviously, at quarterback, you got the number one quarterback in the country, the number one prospect overall in Louisiana, Arch Manning. And then after him, you've got Shelton Sampson, who's one of the, I think he's one of the top wide receivers in the country. Derek Williams, I think he's one of the top safeties in the country. I think when you look at Louisiana, I think you can start right there. You can even put Tackett Curtis in there for Manny, and you can say, okay, you've got these 4 guys who are just dudes. They can straight up ball. You put them anywhere, they're gonna make it. They're gonna do what they need to do. And then after that, I think you have a solid, like I guess you could say a solid 4-star class. But it's not right now. I don't think Louisiana is as deep in that 4-star range, 3-star prospect. Yeah. And I think it will get there. I mean, usually around this time of the year, there's always a ton of guys who just kind of come up late and who pop up. But I think 2023 is going to be a very good class. And then when you look at it from a need standpoint, obviously, the quarterback, how important of a need that is. Wide receiver, with Shelton Sampson right there in LSU's backyard. Linebacker is a big need. So once again, you have Tackett Curtis up in Manny, and then of course safety. Safety's all going to be a need as well. And so there are those need positions that LSU needs to hit at. That you have those elite prospects nationally in Louisiana, and now it's just a matter of this new staff being able to make up some ground of not having the extra year to be able to recruit these guys. Because one thing about Junior Day over the weekend is it not only attracted 2023 guys, you attracted a lot of, upper echelon 2024 guys too. And so, the staff didn't have the luxury of being able to get those 2023 guys on campus last year like they did these younger guys. And so, that's going to be the task, is to make up the ground that they need to make up on. But they've got plenty of time to do that. And I think they have a strong enough recruiting staff too, to where they'll be able to overcome some hurdles and some obstacles that, pop up in the recruiting process.
Sonny Ship's joining us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure and follow him on Twitter, on all social media to keep up with the latest in recruiting. Go247 is where you can read everything online, as you can find him there and on social media as well. Does LSU have a legitimate chance with Arch?
I mean, yeah, I think I don't want to say they don't have a legitimate chance, because I think they, I think they do. I think they have a very long haul and a tough haul ahead of them to get to where they need to get to. I just, right now, if you ask me where Arch goes, I mean, I would probably lean towards Texas or Bama.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I would look at right now.
Will it be highest bidder? NIL?
Man, it's hard to see that being an issue. It's hard to see that really being a factor. I mean, look, we all know about the Mannings, and, his dad is not one who played in the NFL, but I mean, he's an entrepreneur. He owns several businesses around the state and really around the country. So I guess my whole point is that, I don't think NIL is going to play as big of a deal with a guy like him, kind of like Walker Howard. I don't think NIL would have played a deal at all with Walker Howard if it would be in the forefront like it was before he committed. Yeah. And I just don't see that being much of a factor for Arch either.
Yeah. I'm hearing a lot of good things about Joe Sloan on the recruiting trail. Are you?
He's an awesome dude, man. Yeah. He's an awesome dude. Yeah, he came over. He was at
Tech. Huh?
I think it was South Florida. I think he was at USF before he went to Louisiana Tech. And I can remember talking to him way back when he first got the job at Louisiana Tech. He was coming from Florida, didn't really know much about Louisiana and stuff as far as recruiting and all goes. And he was just a guy who was just easy to talk to, and just like didn't really have, you could tell he didn't have the ego, didn't have the, hey, I'm a college football coach and, bow down to me, didn't have, any of that persona. And I think that really spills over on the recruiting trail.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, though, is that Joe Sloan is a very quiet guy, a very low-key demeanor. But I've heard that in the quarterback rooms, that when they're coach, when they're looking at film, when they're going through their workouts and things like that, that he is very animated and really on the players and stuff, really on them hard. And that kind of surprised me. So it's going to be interesting to see. That's one thing about spring practice in a few weeks. It's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic works on the field. Who's the guy who's screaming, going crazy, looking like he's about to OD on blood pressure medicine? Who's the guy just, who's the guy like Scott Linehan sitting there and letting the GAs do all the coaching and stuff? That's one of the best things about spring practice, because we only get about 15 minutes. But when you have a whole new group like you have right here, seeing how they interact on the field with one another and with the players, I mean, I think that's one of the, probably one of the best things that you end up getting out of the 15 or 20 minutes that we would, get during spring practice.
Sonny Ship, best in the business. Follow him on Twitter at Sonny Ship, and check out his work at Go247. You can hear him routinely right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. When he start making the trips back and forth for spring practice, we'll have him in the studio and go extended on recruiting, and LSU looking forward to next year. Thank you as always, bro. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, man, we need to have that quiz bowl. See who got the best 7-year college education out of it, bro.
I am in. I'm in.
Hey, pick up a 12-pack and we're in.
We'll let Lloyd be the MC. Yeah, right. The 9-year general study grad. Later, buddy.
There's another. Hey,
a lot of brain power here, Sonny.
Yeah, Lloyd got a master's.
30 years old. Lloyd just got his college degree.
That's right.
Congratulations, Lloyd. Happy birthday, buddy. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Good to see the carpool queen. Remember that conversation with Sonny Ship on recruiting. Brought to you by RMB Builders, our friends over at RMB, Rhett Bourgeois and the crew. RMB Builders, rmb-builders.com is where you can find them online if you're looking to build a brand new home, if you're looking to remodel a house that you already have, if you're looking for some reconstruction, get in touch with Rhett and the crew. rmb-builders.com. Great website, rmb-builders.com. And all of our podcasts here on the Jordy Culotta Show is brought back to you by RMB Builders. If you have not subscribed, if you have not liked, if you have not shared, please do so on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe here. hit that subscription button, and if you want to hit that the bell, so you know when we go live, it'll notify you when we go live, like the boys did last night. As they've got over 1,000 clicks. I'm telling you, this is a good show, man.
Good, y'all.
This is a good show.
Stewie?
Only we're working out a little of the kinks and teaching people some new roles on some technical stuff, but putting out some good content as well. Carpool Queen, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good.
Yes, all right. How was this morning's ride?
It was good.
Any traffic?
Very easy. Always traffic, but it was easy. It was easy.
Yeah. What's the traffic's the most on the interstate or the? Yeah.
Like when you get like closer to downtown, everybody freaks out.
Traffic to school or away
Traffic
from
to school is fine. It's
school?
away. It's coming
away.
like back in.
I had to hit college today because of the interstate.
Yeesh.
The worst, dude. I don't know what it is. That's
One person has a wreck and everybody has to stop and look at it. That's what it is.
It's the looking.
Yes, it's the looking. Slow down and looking.
Brian Burgess, is Lloyd proof that anyone can get a college degree?
Y'all, I mean, y'all don't know who y'all are dealing with. Lloyd is smart.
Don't tell people that, Kate.
But you are. You know that. I mean, you have a master's degree. People are fooled.
I'd rather people be fooled.
Rob Boudreaux, Jordy, what's your take on the Frank Wilson stuff that is coming out here? If you are paying attention, Sharon Lewis, who is in a lawsuit, a Title IX lawsuit with the university, was very transparent on what her claims were throughout the entire lawsuit. Up until last year, this was a lawsuit that she was asking for $50 million in damages. And throughout that entire lawsuit, not one claim said that Frank Wilson or a coach at LSU during the time period that is in question exposed himself to her. That is the claim from Sharon Lewis. And I know Sharon, and I respect Sharon. I have worked directly with Sharon, and I'm not claiming that what she says is not true. But what I can say from a legal standpoint is that she has made a lot of claims and she has made a lot of allegations in a lawsuit against LSU about a work environment being very uncomfortable. She's pointed out things of sitting next to Les Miles in recruiting meetings where Les Miles has made derogatory remarks about females, and has painted a situation and painted very much an environment that was uncomfortable for females to work in at the time. In all of those claims, she does not mention one time Frank Wilson. And for that claim to be made now, after Wilson has been hired, and after the lawsuit, from at least the public standpoint, has lost a little bit of steam. It may not behind legal doors. I don't know. And like I said, I am not claiming that Sharon Lewis is not telling the truth. She has no reason not to. Sharon Lewis has always been, in my opinion, somebody that was up at LSU and wanted the best for LSU. She's a former student athlete at LSU. I don't think that she's, out to get LSU. This seems like she's out to get LSU. From just the public standpoint.
Weren't there whispers about Frank before, though, when this first came out?
Not that I had ever heard. I've never heard anything about Frank in this type of, look, man, he's a masterful recruiter. So has he done some shady stuff in recruiting? I'm sure. I think anybody that's good at recruiting has done shady stuff.
Yes.
Right? But I've never heard that Frank does this type of stuff. Mm-hmm. I've never heard that.
But she didn't pull him into this early on. Like, not officially, but I feel like we read articles or something was out there.
No.
Or she mentioned him. Is that not right?
Not that okay. I can recall. I mean, I please bring them back because I'd love to. I'd love to read them. Well, I mean, if there's claims out there, I mean, but the simple fact is that this is all kind of. It feels like it's being grabbed out of the air, right? Like where
big allegedly,
huge allegedly. Big allegedly,
she
because
right in here.
She really would.
But I mean, it seems like if you're going to go through the process and you're going to file the lawsuit and you're going to claim the work environment is uncomfortable and awkward at times, and that's a lot of your claims and allegations, this would be a scenario that you couldn't leave out. Mm-hmm. Like if somebody flashed themselves to you in a break room at work and you're claiming the work environment was uncomfortable, to me, this would be one of the bullet points. This would be one of the bold claims that you would make of whether he was employed at LSU or not, right? It doesn't matter. I mean, Les Miles wasn't employed at LSU when she made the claims and allegations against Miles. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you had to be an employed personnel for your name to be involved in it. Now that it's, retroactively being put into the lawsuit, to me, it's head scratching. And LSU also claims and states through their statement that there's never been any of these allegations made. There's nothing on record. Nothing happened during that time that it was reported. Now, LSU has shown that they have not had the processes and people in place for, the Title IX stuff they were claiming. I'd imagine that employee behavior is something that they are equipped for. I mean, at a university where you've got over thousands of people working day to day together, you have to have some type of protocol put in place that if somebody was to sexually harass somebody, that would be able to be taken care of. And if she's claiming that Wilson exposed himself to her in a break room on campus, and she put together a lawsuit claiming that the workplace was uncomfortable, how did you leave that out?
I know.
How did you leave that
I
out?
hate this kind of stuff.
When it seems like if it was uncomfortable then, she would have filed then, whenever it happened, as opposed to waiting until she is out on the outs of LSU, and now she wants to go back and say, oh, and by the way, this happened whenever Frank gets brought back into the fold at LSU, and now she's like, oh, and him, by the way, whenever he was here, he did this, and Sharon Lewis is just trying to find another way to stick it to LSU, it seems like, on her way out.
Like, she and Frank were close.
I have no clue.
Well, I mean, sure. I mean, she
worked together closely.
She ran a recruiting department.
Yeah.
He was the top recruiter.
So was she protecting him then earlier on, and like now something's happened and that's why it's coming out?
I have no idea, but I mean,
I think she's just grasping at straws.
If that would happen, it would be tough for me to believe that nobody would make a claim about it either at the time, or even during a period of time of that going on.
Right.
Especially if I'm coming forward and claiming in a lawsuit that is, I mean, you're asking for $50 million in damages and you're leaving this story out. I'm not here to say that I don't believe, I can't see where a scenario where it didn't happen. I'm just saying from this point of view of where it all sits presently, that looks like the outlier, right? Like I see all the claims in the lawsuit and I get it. I understand. That's a shitty workplace environment. That's a very uncomfortable and awkward place to show up to every single day, right? But, I mean, in the $50 million of damages that you're asking in the lawsuit, you left that out? Mm-hmm. How? I mean, sincerely, I'm asking. If it happened, I'm sorry. But how did you leave that out when you were claiming that this was the problem? This was the issue. And from LSU standpoint, I mean, they have nothing on record, according to their statement, that anything was made against Wilson at the time. So what are they supposed to go on? Right? I mean, like this is now just turned into a he said, she said?
Basically, yeah. Okay,
so are you going to believe the one that's trying to sue you for $50 million, or are you going to believe the guy that you just hired and you vetted?
Right.
I mean, that's the position that LSU sits in. It's an awkward spot for everybody.
Super awkward.
Right?
It's awkward to talk
awkward
about.
For me right now.
I know, same.
Right, you want to take this role? You want to try barking in this microphone about it?
I'm good. I'm over here pretending to do something.
Pretending to not be listening.
The
around on the mouse.
The world of cancel staring down your neck.
Yeah.
Say something wrong and see what happens.
Just told you how long I went to school for.
Nathan Velasquez is here. He's the 5-minute critic. We will change things up.
This is why we brought him in. He's the foremost
He's going to discuss all of this.
Exactly. Nathan Velasquez, who is our Title IX expert and is going to... he's also our legal expert. Is going to put this. He is going to put this to bed, literally. Steel Henry is our roofer. Get in touch with Steel. Feel the steel. That's right. Know where your roofer is. Know where your roof is coming from. Hargrove Roofing is where Steel Henry is. You know what, man? I don't know when it's a good time to say anything.
Good segue.
I don't know when it's a good time to say anything. But my thoughts are is exactly what we just put down. $50 million in damages in a lawsuit. You leave that story out. That seems weird. It just seems weird.
It does.
Remember, Hargrove Roofing, Steele Henry is down in South Louisiana. He is in Lafayette, but he works the entire South Louisiana corridor. Whatever you're looking for, know who's on your roof. Call Steele today, 318-229-7266. If you're selling your home and you're looking for an upgrade in a roof, or if you're just still dealing with some damages that came through here with the weather that we experienced in South Louisiana over the last couple of months, get in touch with Hargrove Roofing and call our friend Steele Henry today, 318-229-7266. That is 318-229-7266 is the direct line to get in touch with Steele Henry today over at Hargrove Roofing. Know who's on your roof. It's a professional from Hargrove Roofing. It's Steele Henry. Get in touch with him. 318-229-7266.
And if you call and ask and say, Feel the Steel, free consultation on your roof. Yeah. So that's our little promo code.
He's going to get so many weird phone calls.
You have to call after 10 p.m. for that.
Nathan Velasquez is here. His first time in the Noodle. We will welcome him onto the set when we come back here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Nate!
Oh, God. That's just not
Nate!
Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more. Do you have questions about your finances? Are you looking for recommendations from a skilled financial advisor? Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. You can find him easily by logging online and shooting him an email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That is daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Whether it is help with your 401k or just fiscal advice heading into the new season, get in touch with Daniel today. Best way to do it? Email him, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our experienced financial advisor. Let him be yours, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Remember, check our friends out online at Go Chevrolet, GEAUX Chevrolet.com. Also, stop in and see our friends over at Go Express Auto Sales, which is right here in Baton Rouge on the corner of Florida Boulevard and Sherwood Forest. Check out the great selection that they have over there. Make sure and hit the like button, share button, comment button if you don't mind. If you're starting your day here with us on this Monday on YouTube, Facebook, JordyCulottaShow.com. We appreciate that very much, as we are here with you Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. If you hit that alert button and subscribe button, you'll be notified when we go live to you. We've already talked to Will Wade. We talked to Michael Doherty, who is a 4-star safety out of Logansville, Georgia. He was in on Junior Day this past weekend with Brian Kelly, Frank Wilson, and the LSU football staff. We also talked to Sonny Ship from Go247. Nathan Velasquez was out on Friday as he was traveling, and he is now down here in South Louisiana. I believe he's here till tomorrow. And he stopped by here in the studio today. It's great to see our friend, the 5-minute critic, Nathan
Did you come
Velasquez.
from Mardi Gras?
No,
Okay.
did not come from
Okay.
Mardi Gras. A little bit of business, a little bit of just visiting.
Okay,
Pleasure.
I am really jealous of this studio.
Thank you, Nathan.
I mean, it looks great
Get you
online,
home,
but
buddy.
it's huge.
Yeah.
This
Thank
is
you.
really cool. Good job.
We'd love. Sorry about that. I just knocking stuff over.
Everything falls apart in this place. I mean, it's not perfect.
I'm nervous that Nathan's back.
It's actually a ghost here we haven't talked about yet.
Nathan, if you ever move back, you know where you can house all your stuff.
Boy, this job could be yours. We can tag team it once again. We could get back together.
I'll call
For the
my
low
landlord
cost of
later today.
$8.50 an hour, you can sit right there.
Right.
All
Right.
day.
You know how much you like to talk sports.
I don't want to talk about. I don't know what was going on when I walked in. That doesn't sound like a story I want to break down.
Latest on Title IX, Nathan. What you got? What is the latest on Alec Baldwin? I hear he's back.
There was
in the news.
no word until honestly this weekend. He was invited to go to this Colorado Film Festival, and he was like kind of programming. He was doing like he was showing Dr. Strangelove, some other movie from the '60s, and obviously this whole thing came up. So he said that the reason they asked him, so there are lawsuits. What's your take on these lawsuits? He says the reason that he's being sued is because he's the person on the set with the deepest pockets. That's the reason that he's being sued.
Because he's rich.
It's because he's rich.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
He's not the one that shot somebody.
Not because he had the gun in his hand.
No, but and the way he put it was the problem here
What
is
about the
that
dead girl, Alec?
he said we've got a lot of people on the set that are they were negligent, but they're not wealthy, and we have some people on the set who were wealthy but were not negligent. It just feels, I don't know what type of, it feels like a Christopher Nolan type of plot we're going in. Like, how am I supposed to make this argument work in my head? It's coming from 7 different ways. I have no idea what we're trying to do. I don't know. I think it's just flailing. It's getting sad. He looks real bad. Like, I know everyone doesn't really feel great about this guy, but it's also like he's really plummeting.
Mm-hmm. Do we know when the legal stuff starts?
I have no idea. I mean, that type of stuff takes forever. Right. It's been really 4 months since it happened. And in terms of like building a case, also you're building a case against really Alec Baldwin. So you know that they're taking a while. I think that it's getting so sour now that the DA, who before, when this all happened, the DA was pretty much saying, we're giving you as much, everyone in the situation, we're giving as much grace as possible as to what's going on. I think that as the public sours with all of these really weird things that he's doing, they're getting up more of the energy to be like, okay, we're going to treat you the way we would treat anyone else. And that interview that the husband did like 2 weeks ago, first interview, the guy's a lawyer. He came out and said, I have no idea. Like, even if he had only 10% responsibility, how do you say you have no responsibility? Yeah. That makes no sense at all.
Right.
What are we doing here?
It's incredible to see just the spin of PR down the drain that this guy has.
It's like if you were like the toughest PR assignment of all time. Like you hear the argument and you're like, really? Is this the best we got? I mean, this is the best that we have to make this seem like nothing. Like I don't think you can spin your way out of this one. And if he spins his way out of it legally, no one's gonna want it. It's just imagine him walking into the room. It's like, whoa,
the stench.
I don't like this. I don't like this.
I'm out.
Are they still gonna make the movie?
No, that movie's dead. He was on the set.
Nathan, really sure.
We were all excited about Rust. We were very excited about Rust.
Yeah.
But he was on the set of some movie in January that he was filming, and he was doing it's weird. But he's doing like he came out with, what was that movie? Drunk Parents recently. He was still in character.
I
forgot who was in that. It's so bad in there. It's real. I mean, it's dark and everything, and I'm all in on dark humor. But there are compilations of all of the times that he's operated a gun in the movies. There's a clip in one of the Mission Impossible movies, who is it? Henry Cavill, the guy who plays Superman. So Superman takes a gun and he shoots at Alec Baldwin, but there's no bullets in the chamber. So he's like, got you there. And then Alec Baldwin takes out a gun and says, let's see if this one's loaded. We can find out.
Wow.
It's like, how did that exist?
Wow.
How did that clip exist in the world before this story happened?
Jesus. Cody Boudreaux, $10 super check. Nate, still have it
Good
watched Raised by Wolves on HBO Max?
No, not yet. I'm sorry, Cody. I'll get to that.
Your
I promise.
assignment, for God's sake, Nathan.
I talk about Dune. I'm funding this studio by talking about Dune for Cody every single week.
Right.
Give me some time.
What is Batman funding the world right now? Because
Batman
it seems like they're making
Have y'all seen Batman?
We have not seen it.
You saw it?
Yes.
What did you think?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was not.
He says that, but his first words about it was that it was 3 hours.
It was.
I didn't feel that. I didn't feel that time. Honestly, I thought it.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I did not. I didn't mind it was 3 hours. I just wanted to prepare people on the back end. If you didn't know, you're gonna be sitting there for a while. There's only one real opportunity to pee. Either do it before. There's a little scene where you can get up and nothing really happens. But that's other than that, I never felt like the time was passing slowly.
It's really, really good. Oh yeah, absolutely.
wait.
What's weird about I still think that The Dark Knight is the benchmark to reach.
Yeah.
I don't think this gets there. But this does something that no other Batman has done. Like every Batman movie, you're catching up with Bruce Wayne like a decade, 2 decades into like having his shit down. He knows what to do. Everyone knows Batman. Here, Bruce Wayne is a little kid. He's 2 years into this thing. No one is really, it's kind of like, what's going on here? What is this guy? He doesn't have that notoriety. He doesn't even really know what he's doing. Like, this is a Batman who has no idea what he's actually doing. He's just angry. He thinks he's helping the city, but he's not really helping the city. In some ways, he's kind of making everything a bit worse because he's kind of inspiring the lower class of criminals to, like, put on costumes and try to be their own superheroes, but they're destroying everyone. And there's a lot of anger. It's probably the most intense Batman I've seen, at least.
Wow.
Really intense.
Okay.
But it's really fantastic. And yeah, I think at 250 million, so it's on its way to $1 billion.
Jeez.
Like, it's doing really well right now.
And this is the play right now in Hollywood, is the reboot, right?
Yeah, and honestly, it seems like it feels like maybe 10 years ago, everyone's talking about everything's a sequel, everything's just about rebooting new properties. I think that movies are going more the way of the way TV shows are now. Like, it's not so much you have something like Ozark, something like Breaking Bad. It's not really rebooting when you get all these new type of shows for the same story. It's almost like, let's just dive as deep as we can into these characters. And I think movies are kind of going that way. It's like, we're going to get 2 more of these, the Robert Pattinson Batmans. Warner Brothers is already doing like a spin-off show. I think 2 spin-off shows from this movie. Like, we're getting new Alien movies, Alien TV shows, Blade Runner movies, Blade Runner TV shows. It's kind of like, don't call it a reboot. Call it we are like going as deep into this well as we possibly can to create new stories.
Is this because of what Disney Plus did with all of the Star Wars content? Do you think they saw that model like, oh, people can't seem to get enough of some of this, so let's just give them as much as we have? Like, they made, The Mandalorian, and now there's the Boba Fett show, and now there's, other spin-offs. Not quite spin-offs, but just that world they want to continue to develop.
I think it's that type of thing. It's kind of like it's not so much, I know you could be cynical and say it's just cash cows. We're just trying to dig for as much money as possible. But it's also, if people are willing to go and spend all of their money on 3 different Star Wars TV shows and 11 movies, like, we've got 75 properties in the Warner Brothers library. We can do the same thing. We can give people like just years and years of content diving into all these characters.
Speaking of Warner Brothers, they announced a decision that they're only going to put 8 movies into the theater, and they're going to put everything else on streaming. I know this pissed a lot of people off, but this is good business, right?
This was actually something that Steven Spielberg predicted in like 2010 would happen. He said the future of movies is going to be, and this is when Netflix was kind of just getting the public eye and becoming the standard. Like, everyone was getting a Netflix subscription. He was saying in the future, you're going to see, while like right now you get about 120 movies in theaters a year, you're going to get less of that. You're going to be able to access more of your content wherever you want. Online, it'll stream to your TV. That's the way it'll be. And you'll reserve the movie theater for the 30 event movies where like 8 months before, everyone's like, that new Batman, we're getting a new Batman. You hear we're getting a new Avatar. It's going to be more expensive to go to the theater, but you're not going to have 120 options. You're going to have 30, and you're going to be pumped for 8 of them. And you're going to pay $20 because I've been waiting for that new Batman movie for the last year, the new Christopher Nolan movie for the last year. And you don't necessarily want to see, there's a lot of stuff that's coming out this week, and it's like, that doesn't look like it needs. I'll watch that at home, maybe. I'll put it on. I'm not going to take my 2 kids, spend $100 to go and watch something like that. Like, if I'm going to go to the movie theater, you've got to really convince me to get me out there.
Yeah.
Did you go to the theater to see Batman, obviously, like on the premiere night, or did you?
Yeah, I went to Celebrity Theaters and went to that PLF. That theater, I had never seen.
Nice,
it's
isn't it?
really nice.
Yeah.
It's
in Baton
huge.
Rouge?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's over
George
on
O'Neill.
Yeah, George O'Neill. Really, really good.
It is nice.
Did people stand up and clap at the end of the movie?
Did people stand up and clap? No, I don't think they did. It's a really intense movie. It's not really like, when Spider-Man, whenever someone, like one of the new Spider-Man shows up, or I guess one of the old Spider-Man shows up, everyone's like, I saw a video of someone like backflipped. Whenever there was a video of someone backflipped, like everyone cheers and everything, and then you just see one guy somersault in like the front row. Like, this is not that type of thing. Like, this is a lot more. It has a feel kind of like Seven a little bit, because it's not like a Joker type of villain. It's more like, I'm just a flat out serial killer. So it kind of has a creepier vibe like that. I think more, so I wouldn't say so much clapping, but like, go see it in IMAX. Go see it on the biggest scene possible.
Okay.
It's
convinced me.
insane.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell.
Unbelievable.
what the hell was that about? Like, that is insane. Like, I almost didn't even, it was like 5 minutes into him being on screen that I was like, shit, that's right. Colin Farrell's in like a fat suit. This looks nothing like him at all, but he pulled that off. He's the Penguin.
Yeah.
If you didn't know that he was in the movie, you would have no clue it's Colin Farrell. Because we went to the premiere. It was like on
That's
Tuesday.
a great compliment to actors, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we went to the premiere, and it had like the cast and crew of the movie, like kind of sitting in the director's chairs, like telling you about the movie, what you were about to see. And Colin Farrell was in it. And everybody was like, why is Colin Farrell up there? And then because they had watched the movie after, they were like, wait, why is Colin Farrell at the beginning of the movie? I was like, dude, he was the Penguin. And they're like, I had no clue that was him the entire time.
They said they tested it out. He went in when he put the suit on, he got the makeup on, and because his face, it's not just the fat suit, like his face looks like it's been battered to hell, like he's been smoking cigarettes for 70 years or something like that. He looks nasty. And he said they tested it. He went into a Starbucks and he said he got some nasty looks, but no one recognized at all that it was him.
Wow.
Reed Wilson, Nathan, have you seen Ozark? Season 4.
Ozark.
Season 4.
Yeah. And they announced, I think, April 29th is the second half of this last season. Really good stuff. I honestly thought where they ended it in the middle, I won't say anything about it. I feel like if they had cut it 5 minutes before where it ended, I would have been like, what the shit?
Me too.
I'm like, it's still great, but I kind of like, I was expecting to be like, oh no, this is the ending right here. And then it went on. It's like, okay, that's good. Still great. That's my only comment. Maybe end it 5 minutes before, but really, it's a fun show. Those are
Wow, look at this side by side.
Oh,
yeah, isn't that insane?
Is this present day Colin Farrell?
Yeah.
Wow.
He looks great.
He got
You mean
that
the
rich
one on
glow.
the right is present day?
He's got that rich glow.
No, he
Better
like
than
10,
normal.
15 years ago, he kind of looked like, he had that
he got
actor. Like, sure, I bet he's a hunk. I'm sure the ladies, love him. But now it looks kind of like you're like a professional actor.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
it's time for the awards. Time to get the awards, the
that
notoriety.
Well, because he was a professional bad boy. Like, that was his thing, is that Colin Farrell was always kind of on the outs. And
I
so he
never
was
like
living
other than Phone Booth in early Colin Farrell. I was never really that into him that
Same.
much.
Oh, he was great in Daredevil. He just got it through the playing card.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Daredevil.
With Ben Affleck and who's the one? Oh, Jennifer Garner.
I forgot
was
about that.
Electra.
Movie.
They
Right.
meet-
Ben
they meet
Affleck
there.
was
That
Daredevil.
is, that's right.
That movie was so.
Bad.
Remember when superhero movies were kind of just shit?
Cheesy.
Yes.
Yeah, like the
That
Hulk,
was
that
one of
first
them.
Hulk movie.
Yeah.
The first Thor stinks.
Yeah, that's really boring. That was really boring.
But they turned it around. It
They
turned out
did.
with after Ragnarok, they kind of found their footing as to what the movie was going to be.
Absolutely.
Injected some humor, and it kind of shifted the way Marvel started making their
It did.
movies. They put humor in them.
Nathan, we get you back for St. Patrick's Day? Or are you gone?
Oh, I'm gone.
Aw.
I'm gone. Back in New York City.
You going to do St. Patrick's Day in New York?
Oh,
Are
absolutely.
you going to travel over to
Huge.
Boston?
No plans to travel to Boston. That's got to happen at some point. My cousin actually just had a kid over in Boston. That might be actually good. Maybe we will. Maybe an excuse to go and visit some family. I just thought of that.
John Quav, Nathan, hashtag question, favorite Colin Farrell movie?
Favorite Colin Farrell movie? In Bruges.
In Bruges, yeah.
In Bruges, absolutely fantastic. What I forget the name of the actor he plays opposite, but it's a really dark comedy. Ray Fiennes, him and Colin Farrell and his partner, they're assassins. They botch a job in some small European town, so they have to stay there and fix everything up. It's honestly, it's like a Coen Brother movie. It feels like a Coen Brother movie
Really?
set in
I
England,
haven't
but
seen that.
honestly, maybe a bit darker than their types of movies. Really, really good stuff.
John
Great movie.
Quav replies with American Outlaws.
I've never seen American Outlaws.
What about Lobster? Have you seen that?
I
with
love
Colin
Lobster.
Farrell? Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I feel like Lobster. I love that type of movie. I'm not sure if the Jordy Culotta show. I don't want to steer anyone into an art house movie that they're not gonna like. I've done that. I've done that before.
It would be a whole lot of what the fuck.
That ending made no sense. They didn't talk for 30 minutes.
What's going on in the 5-Minute Critic?
So this week we are honestly the movie that this new Batman feels the most like is Taxi Driver. So we're going to do a review of Taxi Driver this week. Wow. Kind of a loner who is very feels like lost in a very crime-ridden city. I feel like that this movie takes most from Taxi Driver in a really good way. So I'll break down Taxi Driver this week. And then weekly movie update every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Central time. Do a show breaking down latest news. Alec Baldwin, obviously. Every week we talk about Alec Baldwin.
Right. All right, our good friend, the 5-Minute Critic, Nathan Velasquez, here in the studio for the first time. We'll be back and close out Monday's show. Make sure you give a follow and a subscription to Nathan Velasquez, both on social media and on his YouTube channel, to keep up with the latest from the 5-Minute Critic every single week as they go live over there and breaking down movies. And you can hear him here every Friday as we will be touching base back with Nathan coming up to close out the week, just like we do every Friday here on the Jordy Culotta Show. All right, that conversation was brought to you by Relief Med, our friends over at Relief Med, RELEAF med.com. Nathan, if you need your medical marijuana before you get back to New York City, make sure and use the promo code Jordy1, that is JORDY 1, to save your 20% off of your initial purchase over at Relief Med, RELEAF med.com. Medical marijuana has been legalized in the state. Find out how you can get relief now by logging online to reliefmed.com, and you can get your recommendation for medical marijuana. Same-day video call, phone doctor appointment. You get that when you log online to reliefmed.com. That is RELEAF med.com. We'll be back and close out the Jordy Culotta Show live here on this Friday, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
What are your thoughts on people clapping in theaters? They did it with the one I was at. They clapped for Batman.
I mean, I feel like if it's appropriate, like if it kind of feels, the right moment, then. Did you clap?
I feel like I had to. I was not going to.
You were pressured into it.
And then I was like, okay, I mean, sure. Nobody's
like
here.
I mean, if there's that scene wherever he's in the chase with the penguin. It's in the trailer where it's upside down, and he's like walking through. Like it's cool because in that moment you'd expect that the music's gonna like crescendo and it's gonna be, but it's like silent. You just hear the rain. So like if you're clapping at that point, it's like, dude, it's silent right now. You're being distracting as shit.
No,
like, I wouldn't say then.
Yeah, they didn't clap throughout the movie. They clapped just at the end.
Oh, no, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's like clapping for a pilot, though, that lands a plane.
That's
where
the
you're
worst.
just like, okay, I guess.
The worst.
All right, cool. I mean, yeah, you did your job.
What did you think of the tease of...
We're still on.
Oh, okay. So, then a teaser, the tease of a villain. I mean, they said they're making two more of these movies. So, teasing the next villain, what did you think of how they did that?
Who do you think it is? I know who the villain is probably going to be. Who do you think is going to be playing him? That's what we were trying to figure out.
Oh, it's...
Wait, who's it going to be? Who's the villain?
We're not going to spoil it.
I don't think we can say that.
But you'll know when you watch the movie?
You've seen the villain before in other Batman movies.
Yes.
I think we can say that. He is the guy from... Do you remember in Dunkirk, one of the two boys on the ship? The boy that gets injured on the ship? Mm-hmm. It's that guy. He's the guy from... Did you see Killing of a Sacred Deer, also with Colin Farrell?
I think that's a bridge too far for me, Nate.
I think so, too.
I'm trying to think of... He's on it. He's in Eternals. He's in the new Eternals movie. I'm trying to think of other stuff that he's kind of... His name's Barry Kerrigan, I think is his name.
All right, well,
I'm forgetting what else, like kind of the bigger names that he's been a part of.
You think he's going to play the villain in the next movie? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, well, he's cast in it. He's cast as the next villain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you already know.
All right.
Okay.
We'll be back.
Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com.
Do you have questions about your finances? Are you looking for recommendations from a skilled financial advisor? Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. You can find him easily by logging online and shooting him an email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That is daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Whether it is help with your 401k or just fiscal advice heading into the new season, get in touch with Daniel today. Best way to do it? Email him, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our experienced financial advisor. Let him be yours, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, closing out here on this Monday. We appreciate Nathan Velasquez for stopping by. He was in studio with us. He's still here as he is in Baton Rouge in South Louisiana until tomorrow, finishing up some work before he heads up back up to the Northeast. NFL Combine came to a close yesterday. LSU had a couple of people there, including Ty Davis Price, who ran a 4.48 in his 40. It's a pretty good showing for TDP.
Is that the official time?
Yeah, that's it. 210 pounds running a 4.48, bro. That's NFL. I mean, like, that a lot of scouts. It was probably like,
That'll get you drafted. Yeah.
We're gonna take this guy. Damone Clark performed exactly like we thought. 40. He ran 4.57. Had a 36.5-inch vertical. And had a 10.7 broad jump. I would have loved to know when he did 225 reps. How many reps did he do on 225? Damone Clark.
Did he not do it? He might.
I don't know if he might have set that out. But the freakiest performance at the Combine had to be Georgia defensive tackle, 6'7", 341-pound Jordan Davis, who clocked a scary, this is what nightmares are made of, as he clocked a 4.7 in the 40-yard dash at 341 pounds.
God, I'm looking at a picture of him. It's crazy.
Huge. It is absolutely the scariest thing that you could imagine on a football field. To see that size, that speed closing in on you
I can't imagine.
At a 4.7 rate of speed, and thinking that this guy's about to, he's about to decapitate me. He's about to kill me.
Faster than Patrick Mahomes.
Absolutely.
Mahomes isn't the most fleet of foot, but
still. Absolutely. When you're talking about skill level athletes, that this 350-pound guy is more athletic than, It's freaky, bro. This is some freaky stuff just to see where science is now. This is, Quincy Wiggins type stuff. Where he's that big, that strong, can jump, can do all the stuff, and just it's incredible, man. It is. Look at that
big ball.
Crazy.
Ooh, good Lord. Go see Stewie.
How do you do it?
Where are you, Stewie?
Played 14 games last year for Georgia. Had 5 times. Look at this.
Jesus.
It doesn't even look real.
No, it looks like someone photoshopped him off as sitting on a bench in just the middle of the air.
Yes.
Oh, my
God. Jesus.
It really does.
He could have done just that and probably all right, this guy.
Yeah, he didn't need to do
run.
anything.
Yeah.
He could have not ran.
He could have done just that. All right, this guy's got
He has
some
no
juice to him.
expression on his face. That was so easy.
Pay me is the expression.
Yeah.
Well, you saw flashes of this in game. He would go from this defensive tackle, nose tackle, and catch people sideline to sideline. It's like, this Georgia defense, this guy is a freak of nature that they have, because they have 2 of probably the top 5 linebackers in the draft. They have this guy.
Oh, wait, Stewie's got it here.
Put it on. Hold on. Wait, Stewie. Pause
that. We can't.
From Barstool.
We can't give it. Yeah. Let's just give him credit. This is from Barstool. Make sure you're following Barstool on social media. This is from Barstool's social media. This is Jordan Davis clocking a 40-yard dash. Him in the middle of this. Look at this speed, right here, bro. Right there. Look at that.
Whoa.
That's so scary.
Where are you going? You know what I mean? Where do you think you're going? You could be running away from that cat downhill, and he's catching you with one hand, picking you up and holding you above him, looking up at you.
Do you really think that 40 changed his draft stock? Just because it's not very necessary.
He may have gone
position.
from a top 20 pick to a top 10 pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he might have jumped 10 spots. When you think about, because the things that if you go back to it, Stewie, let's go back to what they're grading.
This isn't Barstool Sports content, is what I'm saying. It's NFL Network content, so they're taking it from
Okay,
NFL
so
Network.
just the first 10 yards of Jordan Davis is what they're looking at, really.
Yes.
Because he's going to play in 10-yard spaces, right? Right?
Yeah.
And I mean, dude, and not only that, his 10-yard split, the amount of ground he's covering in his stride is 3-4 yards at a time. I mean, he's like LeBron. If you've ever seen, I'll never forget the first time I ever saw LeBron play in person. He caught an outlet pass on the free throw line. Like he was running, the rebound came off the rim, and he was at the half court line, and he was running back towards his rim to get the outlet pass and caught it like at his free throw line. But when he caught it, he was moving downhill towards the rim. Like he caught it like turned, and it took him 3 dribbles from his free throw line to get to the other rim. And he didn't walk. And I know he walks a lot, but he did not walk. He took 3 dribbles and laid the ball up from the other free throw line. I mean, the amount of ground he's covering going full speed, he's covering 5-6 steps at a time. And it's just his stride. That's what is the scariest part about Jordan Davis is that, I mean, like, he has a 1.68 10-yard split. I mean, he's only going to play football in 10-yard spaces.
Did you see what LeBron did last night?
56?
Yes.
56. And it had to have every one of them. 124, 116.
I mean, dude, he's
37 years old.
It's tough to argue that he's not playing. It's like Tom Brady. It's tough to argue he's not playing his best football last year. I mean, it's tough to argue that LeBron's not playing as good as he's ever been at basketball right now. I'm not saying that he's playing his best because, I mean, he's played at such a high level for his entire career, but he's playing as good as he's ever played. I mean, he made that 56 look easy.
Easy.
He just rolled out of bed and got that 56. That wasn't like a strain for him to get there.
Well, he said he was fueled by desperation after their 4 straight losses.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to see the spurt and the stretch that he's on right now. All right, we got a busy day over here at FM Digital Media. Make sure you're following all of our social channels. Make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure you are notified for everything that's happening, that's coming on over here. Mikey Matuk's show will roll at 11 o'clock from in studio. Seems like some news is moving in the right direction around Major League Baseball and the Players Association. Matuk obviously will have an update on that as he will recap the weekend for Major League Baseball. He will also talk LSU baseball. I know a lot of you in here are looking forward to LSU baseball conversation. Nobody talks it better than the former All-American Mikey Matuk on his show Mic'd Up, 11 and 1 o'clock right here, a part of FM Digital Media. Make sure you are subscribed to Mic'd Up to keep up with the latest that's happening with Mikey's show. We will be back at Fred's on Fridays for Mic'd Up with the home game series with LSU baseball in town at the box. That means that Mic'd Up will originate from 3:30 to 5:30 over at Fred. So make sure you make your plans for Fred's. Jesus, man, look at this guy.
That was Kobe on the bottom, LeBron on the top.
That's cool.
I love that, bro.
But he's
Still nothing better than the open court break where he does the Kobe, where Kobe brings it under.
The up and under.
That because it's, if you play it side by side, it's like they take the same steps. It's like they're. I mean, it's unbelievable how
similar,
crazy, like just on beat it is with one another. Mic'd Up, 11 o'clock. Have a great Monday. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning, Tuesday at 7 a.m.